Well, good morning, this is Houndog Steve on a beautiful, cold but sunny morning, and you can see by the backdrop we've had one of those peculiar snowfalls that came down as wet snow, and it has now frozen like a frosted coating on the trees. Anyway, I haven't finished a new part of the trail, but I've gone a little further down the trail, and I'm going to show you that part because it's kind of interesting, and we'll have a little chat on the way. Okie dokie, here we go. Well, here we are where the old trail ended. There's still some water flowing, but this is basically frozen solid. And I don't know if you can grasp the beauty that surrounds me right now with that sun filtering through the trees, the peace, the quiet, and as I say, the frosted coating on the trees just gives them that wonderful shade, and of course it brightens up the whole forest. You know, half of those trees are now white instead of brown, and yes, so here we go. I haven't completely cleared this trail, but I started roughing it out just to see where it goes to, and I wanted to get down to that main creek, which is not so very far away. You have no idea what it does for the mind and soul to wake up in a place like this and just to be able to go back into the silence of these trees. And something that I've been talking about for a while in several of my other videos is that, you know, one of the most important things that any of us can do right now is to find out who you are inside, who it is, what it is that makes you tick, where is your moral center, your moral core, because as you can see, and this is what I was concerned about, is that all of the pillars that we have in society now that prop up, you know, those values are being torn down. And so as they disappear, we are all going to have to learn to rely on our inner moral core to direct us from here on in. These are blackberry canes, by the way. Very pretty. You're not going to believe this, but I will come down here with a lawnmower in the springtime and mow a little path through those blackberries. And so yes, finding your own moral center, very important. It's very important always to do that. You know, one of the hugely difficult things about being a human being is that you know, we are very much like children, or, you know, that inquisitive George, curious George. You know, we just we get pulled into things. We are easily fooled by a good sales pitch, and you know, I don't want to denigrate anybody here, but you know, we've all fallen for that sales pitch, a good salesperson, and of course some of them we got stung on because we believed the wrong person. And so, my friends, this is going to be probably one of the hardest tests that we are ever going to face as humanity, as certainly a good portion of us have been cast off into the wilderness, and it looks like it's going to get even more intense. I heard that Quebec was going to ban people from going to the liquor and the beer store if they didn't have a certificate of inoculation. So I can imagine what kind of havoc that is going to wreak. But you know, what I'm seeing in all of this, I don't know whether you're picking up the same kind of things that I am, But you know, if things were going really well, they wouldn't be screaming and shouting like they are right now from the treetops. This is like a parent who's lost complete control of their child, and they're now issuing threats wildly, and the child knows that the parent is no longer in control. And so, yeah, you don't do this kind of stuff if things are going well. If this is rolling out just the way you want it to, you know, you don't need to threaten people. You don't need to threaten to arrest people and put them in quarantine camps for their own protection. And those quarantine camps, which were considered conspiracy theory just a few short months ago, are now a reality. So, you know, I saw on, I'm not sure whether it was Facebook, but, you know, it said that conspiracy theory is now a spoiler alert. Look at this. This is my discovery. For some bizarre reason, there's no trees here. I think this has been cleared. I'm going to have a good look around in the summertime and see if I can find a foundation, because just down there you can see a dark spot on the ground. In the distance, that is the creek. But this is a good piece of flat land with full sun, and I've got a funny feeling that those trees in the near ground or the mid ground are apple trees, which is an indication that there might have been some kind of a settlement here. Absolutely beautiful. This is Canadian wilderness at its best. You couldn't wish for better. It's cold. It was minus 19 when I got up this morning at 7:30, and it's now climbed up to around about minus 16, but there's no wind. And you know, the great thing about living in Canada is that it doesn't matter how stupid you look as long as you're warm. So I got my beaver hat on, I got my coyote gloves on, my mitts, and I got my snowsuit, but under that I just got my regular clothes, so tracksuit pants, socks, I got snow boots on, and actually I don't have any gloves on at the moment because my hands got so hot inside the gloves. Anyway, let's go down to the lowland there and take a little look at the creek, and we'll finish off the journey. Now, I just say it is interesting that you can tell an awful lot about the ground by what is growing on it. And as we came down off this slope, I don't know if you can see, there is a lot of fern. There's the dead fern leaves right there. Good for fire starting in an emergency, by the way. But there's a lot of fern, and up on the top there was a couple of juniper bushes, which I basically associate with pretty poor ground. The ferns are like an acidic kind of base, and yet you come down here and here is tag alder, and tag alder loves a neutral pH. So somehow in the process of water running down this hillside, its pH changes from acidic down to neutral. Now you can see, this is normally when you would do this, that snow would fall off. You see, it's gotten frozen to the branches. So unless we get a good strong wind, yes, this snow is going to be here for a little while. So here we are down at this main creek, and you can see again the water's still flowing. I hope that dumb old dog doesn't fall in. It's about a foot, maybe a foot and a half deep right here, but I don't know if you can see along the banks. That's its normal height, about a foot higher than it is. And I was told that there are minnows in this stream, and there is also rainbow trout. So I will be down here in the summertime, and I will be doing some fishing, or springtime, I will be fishing for some trout in here. Wow, those mitts are so warm, it's unbelievable. Like I say, I've got the mitts off right now. My hands are just steaming, and yeah, like I say, it's minus 16 out. So the stream weaves its way down. It gets quite wide in places. I don't know if you can imagine, it's snow covered there, but you can kind of see where the banks are, and it is around about 10 feet wide right there. And here's a little spot. I went through there the other day, broke through, and it just shows you how easily you could have a little mishap out here. That's why you always bring your phone, just in case. And that top ledge of ice, that is a good 1.5 feet above the level, and there is about another 6 inches, 8 inches below that I went through with my boot. So yes, it's definitely deep enough. There is structure and there is food. There will definitely be trout in this small stream. Now the only problem, as you can imagine, these are all wetland types of trees. You can't see them. Well, here we are. Look, there's a good example. Those are sedges, not grasses. Sedges have edges, so if you run your fingers down the edge of a sedge, it will feel slightly serrated. And sedges grow in wetlands. This is why it's important to know what your foliage is, what the trees are, because these plants, these things that grow, like if you go to buy a piece of land and you see this kind of stuff, you know you're on swamp, man. And because winter hides a lot of sins. That's how the whole term of, you want to buy a piece of land in Florida, they used to sell them all in winter time, when the bugs were gone and it was dried up and it looked like good land. And then when the springtime came, wow. So there you go, that's the end of the trail. I'm going to head on back now after getting my exercise. This dog is just non-stop. She runs. I'm so happy to have the kind of place that I can give this kind of a life to a fellow living creature on this planet. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that little hike down the trail, and it is just surprising what you find in the middle of the Canadian wilderness. Don't quite know how these things work out, but anyway, in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant day and a slightly warmer day than I'm having here, and we'll talk very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.